everybody, to our Week 2 press conference here with head coach Kenni Burns as the Golden Flashes prepare to take on the St. Francis Red Flash in our home opener here at Dick Stadium. Coach Kenni Burns, you want to like us to start with an opening statement?
Sure. Last week, obviously disappointed in the loss. Like I said after the press conference, or after the game in the press conference, that in year 2, losing is not acceptable. Okay, and it never will be in this program. We go there to win a game. We fell short of that on Saturday for a lot of reasons. We look back at the game, watching it with the coaching staff. You talk about situational football. We didn't do well in situational football, and that's understanding down and distance third downs. That's understanding the red zone, the turnover battle, all that stuff. We didn't do well with that. You look at the start with third down on offense. I think we were 3 of 16. In defense, I think we were 9. They were 9 of 15, which is unacceptable. So we lost that battle. They did a better job of staying on the field, and we did not do a good job staying on the field. I think we had 4 straight 3-and-outs in that second quarter before we got in rhythm. The other thing I think that I think as a head coach that I learned is that we've got to have a metric of making sure our guys are ready to go play. And we talk about 3 fires being lit. The mental, the physical, and then the emotional fire have to be lit by the time you kick off that game. And for some reason, our emotional fire was probably lit too soon. I think the guys were really excited the night before, even leading up to that game, that they ran out of juice early in the game. And I think they were shell-shocked a little bit the way the game was going. But I think as they settled down, you saw a response mechanism where they kept fighting, and they gave our football team a chance. When you look at that game, there's probably about 8 or 9 plays you look at, you say might have cost you the game, and we've got to correct those 8 or 9 plays. But 8 minutes in the third quarter, it's a 1-possession game, and if we get a stop on defense, we're right back in this thing. And there's plays like that all over the place. We get a pick to end the second quarter, that we flip the field. If we score there, then we come out of the halftime with the ball. We score, it's a tie ball game. So they gave us opportunities, and we didn't take advantage of them. And that's the growth of a team that you got to have. And we'll get there, and we're getting closer, but we're still got a ways to go. Talk about St. Francis. A lot of respect for their head coach and what he's done. He's been there for several years now. He's built a good program, 2 conference championships. I think it's 16 to 22. They've got a lot of cultural sustainability, I call it, where guys have been in the program, they know what to expect. Those teams are always dangerous teams to me. Both coordinators have experience being there. The OC's been there for 10 years plus, 5 years calling plays. The DC did a good job there as a D-line coach, I believe. Then he went to Cal and PA and coached there for a little bit in the PSAC, which I'm very familiar with. I was in that league at Millersville. Did a really good job. I think his defense was second in the country in Division II in rush defense when he was there. And then you see that now that he's back at St. Francis, you see a lot of the similarities in both programs. So we got a challenge. We got to play well. Like I tell our team all the time, that if you don't show up, you give anybody a chance. And we've got to come out. We've got to be ready to play. We've got to respond from last week and make sure we're getting better week by week. With that being said, I'll open up for questions.
Coach, just a couple from our virtual contingent. How did you come out of the game health-wise?
Came out the game health-wise great. No season-ending injuries, little bumps and bruises here, but nothing that'll keep anybody out for the next week's game.
And let's turn it over to the voice of the Golden Flashes and Rob Polinsky. Rob, go ahead and answer your questions for Coach.
Thanks, Dan. Coach, how did you feel about your team's response after falling down, quickly, 14-0? It seemed like the team responded pretty well. What did you think overall after that quick start for Pitt?
Yeah, we responded well. I thought we did a decent job there. The issue is that we had guys responding and we had guys not responding. So it's getting all 11 guys on both sides of the ball to respond, so we can make sure that we're iron tight, and we didn't have that. I think defensively, you saw guys who played before who had some leather skin respond well. The Matt Harmons of the world, the Alex Branches of the world, the Stephen Dailies. Those guys were ready to roll, and they were able to respond. They know that we were better than what we were showing right then and there. Then offensively, I thought it took halftime. I thought it was halftime where our coaches kind of got after them a little bit and challenged them and challenged some of our better players to make more plays. And I thought they came out the half and they took that personal and they did that. And yesterday we did something a little bit different. I've never done it before, but I know programs that have. But we watched the game as a whole team. Typically, you split offense, defense, you split into your position groups, and you really break the film down. But I think our team's got to understand complementary football, and we're not playing that. And it's no disrespect to the people or the staff that was here before me, but we were really one-sided. It was the offense score points and the defense, if you're going to get scored on as quick as possible. That's not what we're trying to do. That's not, to me, championship caliber football. The offense has to work with the defense, and the special teams has to be the bridge that brings them together. And Saturday, we did not do that. And we got closer in the second half, but we're still not there. And we have to understand how it all works together. So our response mechanism was better, but it still wasn't where it needs to be.
How difficult was it to go up against that offense? On the first drive, they really went down the field and did well, and then it seemed like as it went on, you did a little bit better. But how tough was that to go up against them as fast as they were going?
Yeah, it was the first drive. It was probably just what I expected a little bit, and that's why I decided to take the ball in the second half, because I didn't know when our defense was going to figure it out, but I knew they would eventually. We've got an experienced defense. And after the first drive, I thought they got a good pulse on what was going on. They got the tempo of the game, and like they came off the field. And if you saw me, I said, "Everybody, just relax." Okay, we knew that could happen potentially because we didn't know what exactly to expect. And there were some things he did at Western Carolina, and there were some things he did here to match his personnel at Pitt. And so there were some different schemes that they did run game wise that we had to adjust to. And that's the whole R and grit is responding. And I thought our defense did a good job. The first couple of drives of getting out there, and we gave them a punt, for a touchdown where we just one guy in the wrong gap and let the ball spill, which we can't do. But our defense, I thought, came back and responded. I think a big loss was when Caleb went down. Caleb's the anchor of that defense. He makes the calls. He sets the front. He does a lot of things. When his voice left, we were forced to move a guy who's been playing Will to Mike, and it probably slowed us down a little bit just from them playing fast and us adapting to what they're doing. So I thought we were adjusting well, and then Caleb goes down there. Here comes a new domino that we got to fix, and it was a lot of moving parts.
I wanted to ask you about a few individuals. I know his yardage wasn't great, wasn't probably what you wanted, but I thought there were times that Kai Thomas really showed, probably what you know about him and what you've seen. Just kind of wanted to talk about his performance. How good was it to see, Krishawn McCray back out on the field and what he can do, and defensively, can you talk about Cam Olds? I know Tom and I seem to be mentioning his name quite a bit on Saturday. What do you think of those guys?
Yeah, you just named three guys that will impact the game as much as anybody on our roster. And I thought Kai played okay. I thought he played solid. I thought he ran hard. But we got to do a better job of giving them places to run the ball. And I think that's something schematically that Coach Carney's challenged with. I think our O-line's got to play better. I thought they got in a rhythm, but later in the game, they got to come out way faster and can't play so timid at the beginning of the game. But Kai's got a ton of ability. I know that. I've been around him. I thought his mind was in a good spot going into the game. But the game definitely, he didn't get in the rhythm that he wanted to get into, and we got to do a better job of getting him in that rhythm as coaches. We got to coach better, and we got to play better for sure, but we got to coach better too. And now I told our staff, we got a snapshot of our roster. We know exactly what our roster is now, what they can do. I expect major jumps this next week and building a game plan to fit the strengths of our roster and what they're showing you they can do. And it's built around not only Kai and Krishawn, but number 0 too, Luke Floria. I think he showed you what he can do as well with the ball in his hands. As he kept us in that game for a long time. And I think that's, again, a big part of what we're going to do is getting the ball in the playmakers' hands. And right now it's 3, 2, and 0. And it's pretty obvious. And we got to find ways that they're touching the ball the majority of the time. And then Cam Olds is an extremely talented kid. I'm glad we got him for a couple years, got left on his clock. He can impact the game very well. You talk about him on the other side of Harm and Stephen Daly. Those are about as good as any ends in the league, I believe. I think we got to play a little bit better interior. I think Oliver Billick played solid, but he can play way better than what he played. And Caden Beebe did a really good job too. Again, not worried about our defense at all. I know the numbers would say differently, but we just got to play. And after the game, I said our dudes have got to be dudes. In that game, our dudes became dudes at different moments. They got to all be playing in the same unison together and working together and understand their roles and how they can't have plays off. They can't get tired. They got to play. And when they're in a game like that and the team's letting you back in the game, you got to smell blood in the water and go hunt. And we just didn't do that.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah.
Let's turn things over to his partner in crime in the booth, and Tom Evans. Tom, any questions for Coach?
Yeah, Coach, you talked about the 8 or 9 plays. Did you highlight those plays when you showed the film to the entire team? Did you make the point that this is how close you were, these 8 or 9 plays?
Oh yeah.
What was the reaction from the team if you did?
I think they knew. That's the thing. We watched it together. I didn't know what the response was going to be like that. It's different being called out of your position room when it's just you and your 8 or 9 guys. Now you're in front of the whole team, and now you're accountable to the play that just happened. As a coach, the call that just happened, and you got to look each other in the eye. And if we're saying we're doing it for each other, then those moments you should take pride in. And I think our team understood that. Like I said, there's about 8 or 9 plays that if you make a play here, if you get the right depth here, you don't see the next play. And that was my whole message to them, because we didn't have to see the next play. The punt return never happens if we throw an accurate ball on the 3rd down, and receiver, you get your depth. I mean, the corner's 8 yards off of you. You push your depth, easy pitch and catch, first down. The play before that on the first drive, if we complete the ball to Luke, he's wide open. We throw the ball in the dirt. He's going to catch it and get 10 yards. And now the game looks completely different. There's several 3rd downs where our defense, we're just a yard off of a depth, or we're a step too slow, or we recognize it too late, and we give them a first down. We should be off the field. And those are things that they're learning. They're seeing the importance of all of them. And again, we are still a young football team. A lot of these guys you're seeing right now, they will be back next year as well. So our job as coaches is to keep teaching them and interconnecting them and showing them how they can close the gap. And again, I think you saw that we're better than we were last year, but we still have a ways to go of just understanding situational football and how it all works together. And you talk about Alex Branch's interception. We talk about always attacking the angle and then setting yourself up to score. He doesn't attack the angle, and the guy gets off the block, and we got guys running down the field locking on. And if he does the correct angle there, he scores. And now it's 21-28 going into the half. So there's so many things like that we can go back on and look and change the game completely. And they'll learn, they'll get better. The thing I love about this football team is they love that stuff. They love learning football. They love ball. They weren't running away from it yesterday. I mean, they were in there wanting. We left as coaches. They kept watching. They watched it over as position groups. They want to be great, and that's the start. But now they've got to go do it. Like I said, they can live in this misery, or they can take the evidence of what they just saw and fix the problems we need to fix to move us in the right direction.
You talked about that second quarter with the 3 and outs, and I think it was I think every second down you were 2nd and 12, 2nd and 15, 2nd and 17. Just behind schedule after first down. We have blocking issues or just not execution up front?
It wasn't just up front. It was execution on every level. I think our average 3rd down was like 9.8, which, I mean, your percentages of getting them are going to be really, really low. And I always say the best best 3rd down is a really efficient 1st and 2nd down to put yourself in a manageable 3rd down. We didn't do that, and it literally is like, and I hate to say this, it's kind of coach talk, but it's a guy here, a guy there, a guy who MA's on a route, a guy who MA's in protection, a quarterback who misses a read. It's just one guy here and there, and that's again why we watched it all together so we can understand, because all of a sudden we got an O-lineman burying a guy down the field, and another O-lineman steps the wrong way. And again, being accountable to what's going on the field. You got receivers wide open down the field, throwing their hand up like, what just happened? I'm wide open. I beat my guy. And you got an O-lineman, a running back who misses the protection call. So there's little things here and there that we just got to clean up. And if we clean them up, we're in great shape. And those are the things, like you said, that got you off schedule. And I think you say it as a coach in practice, and they kind of, yeah, we got you, coach, we got you. But then you get in the pressure of the situation, and you see how it works all together. And I think not just us, but teams around the country, we're seeing that. I think guys learn quickly that everything matters, and what they do matters, and knowing their alignment assignment consistently matters.
Going into halftime, Krishan had 2 targets, 1 catch. Is that something?
Yeah, I missed the end of that one.
I guess Tom froze, but yeah, just talk about the adjustments to get your dudes in space and let your dudes be dudes.
He had 2 targets, but I think the first half, what we looked at, what we thought, he's a guy on offense that they're going to understand who he is, how to take him out the game. They did some really good just schematically to press him up, to make it harder to get them the ball. So we started putting them in motion and stuff like that to get some separation for them. And then they started rolling coverage to take them out of it. So then at halftime, again, like anything, you adjust. Okay, what formations can we get them the ball in? How do we create one-on-one matchups? How do we make sure the safety's not over the top of them? And then you saw us, adjust in the second half and really make an effort to get them the ball with our scheme. And that's something that Coach Carney's really good at, and he just does what he does. But we weren't going to force it to him when they're giving us other things, and that's not going to be our MO. If they're going to take him out of it, that means someone else is open. That's how Luke caught the touchdown. They're doubling up Krishan. Luke's wide open down the middle of the field. Here we go, touchdown to Luke. So there's things like that we're going to play off, and Krishan understands that sometimes he's going to take two to open up someone else, and we just got to make sure when he opens up someone else, we're not forcing the ball to Krishan, but we're taking what the defense is giving us, because we've got good players everywhere. I mean, they take away Krishan, well, we got a good running back that can run the ball. If they take away in the pass game, we got Luke, who showed you his ability to make things happen. So Devin's got to take what they give him, and we do as coaches as well, and then find ways to get Krishan matchups with different formations and shifts in motions.
Well, let's say, Coach, Devin really hung in there, took some shots, and it never looked like he got happy feet throughout the course of the game. And that was those things where after the game that maybe his offense has even that much more respect for him because he battled and he took some shots and just kind of kept coming after him.
Yeah, I think Devin walked out of that game. He had respect before from our offense. I think watching as a team, I think they got even more respect for him because he literally hung in there. He took some shots. He never turned on his team, never started complaining and moaning. He just, next play. All right, we'll figure out what happened there, next play. And that's leadership, and that's why he's the starter, the command and the presence that he has now. He never panicked. He came out the halftime, and he took us down the field and led us to a touchdown. I mean, that's, to me, I thought if anything out of that game, that there was a lot of negative, and I was down on a lot of things, coaching myself and then our players. But the one thing I'll say is that I was really proud of that kid. He didn't flinch that drive, and he's like, we're right back in this thing. Let's go. And he told the defense, give me the ball back. And that's the Devin that I know now, and that's the guy he is. And he's got to keep building off of it. Got to keep battling. He's in here watching tape, getting better. Trying to find ways to beat St. Francis. And I'm very comfortable with that guy being the quarterback right now. And I know he's going to respond and be better. He knows he can play better, and I think he's going to respond and do what we need to do this week.
One last question from our virtual contingent. Just talk a little bit about the changes on the sideline. Now you got Coach Con going right into the linebacker and quarterback. You've got the tablets right on the sideline. Just talk about how that live coaching and being able to see that kind of stuff and be able to adjust on the fly. What kind of learning curve was that, and how was that adjustment in this first week of college football?
Sure. I think the tablets is phenomenal. I love that. I love the player to coach com too. I think like anything, it's a learning experience. We did some stuff in fall camp to prepare ourselves forward, but like anything, you never know until you get under the pressure of the situation. The one thing I'll say is I think we'll get more out of the coach to player communication this game than we were last game. Last game we were forced to huddle most of the game because a former staff member is on their staff now as an analyst, so we knew they knew our signals and all that stuff, so we huddled up, and then it allowed us to slow the game down a little bit as well. So it didn't give Coach Carney much time to see the picture and change plays. We had built-in checks when we were in the huddle. This week, you might see us be more, no huddle and doing what we do a little bit more, and that'll give Coach Carney more time to see the picture and get us in the correct play. To where he can take advantage more of getting to the ball and zero the ball in space with the right call. So there were some things last year where I don't think we got, or last week where we didn't get the full effect of what it's going to be for us that we'll get this week for sure.
And then lastly, just talk about the excitement of being able to play here at Dick Stadium in front of a home crowd, the first of 5 opportunities for the community to see you guys shine.
Yeah, I love our community. I mean, you talk about great support. I mean, to see our fans there, we had a good contingency there last week. Guys who reach out in our community after a tough loss like that, you can tell they're behind us and respect us. Our student body's phenomenal. They do a great job. So to get back home and to get back at Dick Stadium and try to get back on our feet with the win, I know that our fans are going to play a big and major important part in that. And to get back around and to get back here is much appreciated and much needed right now for sure for our football team. So we're excited and we're ready to go and show what we got this week.
All right, I'll get started at 2:30 on Saturday afternoon inside Dig Stadium. Get here early for the grit walk and all the fun festivities we got for the home opener. Coach Kenni Burns, thanks for a few moments of your time.
Yeah, appreciate it. Go Flashes, Ken Grit. Thanks.